Let me call to order the June 5, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting of the Pottstown Borough Council. Would you rise for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, is this Mick? Yep. Okay. Let us start with an outstanding award. Mayor? Chief?
Please come up to the front here. It is my distinct honor to award the 2023 Police Officer of the Year Award to our Corporal Stephen A. Dice. Corporal Dice has been an outstanding asset to the Pottstown Police Department since returning to Pottstown in 2020. As a member of the Special Operations Unit, Corporal Dice exceeded departmental standards in 2023 with his proactive policing style and self-initiated efforts. Corporal Dice's proactive approach to policing has made the Pottstown community a safer place to live. Corporal Dice regularly goes above and beyond daily to seek out drug law violators, to apprehend fugitives and wanted subjects, and to arrest individuals suspected of being amongst the most dangerous criminals in our community. In 2023, Corporal Dice made over 25 felony drug arrests and served more than 50 arrest warrants on fugitives that had been evading arrest. As a result of those arrests, Corporal Dice seized more than $4,500 worth of crack cocaine, $5,000 worth of methamphetamines, $2,000 worth of fentanyl, and $1,400 worth of Schedule II prescription drugs. Corporal Dice also seized 3 handguns that were illegally possessed and are stolen. He consistently assists the other units in the police department by providing valuable information and using his community contacts to identify suspects involved in criminal activity. Several of these arrests included the identification and apprehension of dangerous criminals that were in possession of large quantities of controlled substances and firearms that were used in acts of violence in our community. Corporal Dice is well known among Pottstown communities for his professional demeanor, his friendly personality, which I definitely can attest to, and his ability to communicate with everyone. I know of no one more deserving than this of this year. Your persistence and self-initiating efforts bring honor to yourself and the Pottstown Police Department and the community for which you serve. So thank you very much, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, as for infrastructure, Councilor Lebedinsky.
It's in your packet.
Have it? And will I have you efficient methods?
The only thing we really kind of covered was the fog program, the fat soils increase with the agreement or utilities working together with L&I on that. That's really it.
Okay. About transportation, Councilor
It was
Pottstown?
not a meeting.
No. And ordinance review?
The committee found our sober living changes to ordinance compliant with the comprehensive plan. But most of the meeting, we talked about all the development that's going in over by the outlets, which would be considerable. So, good. Economic development, Ms. Lee Clark, there you are.
Good evening, councilors, Madam Mayor. So I'd like to start this evening by thanking People's Security Trust, Bank and Trust, which through that grant, generous grant that they provided to PAID, we have been able to do another round of micro grants, and those recipients have been, those 9 recipients have been notified for the Small Business Micro Grant. Academy of Massage Therapy, Brunish's Groceries, Drainman, Plumbing, Lady Liberty, Magic Sleeper, Next Level Barber, Orchid Euro, Pottstown Animal Health, Wellness, just Wellness, and Tri-County Health Plants. So some very traditional businesses or businesses that have been in the boroughs for decades, and some newer businesses, but all very deserving.
Great.
So we're really happy about that. And Artillery Brewing. So I'm sure people have been watching that unfold. Hopefully, they're saying between 30 and 45 days, so I'll say 60 to be fair. But they do, I have talked to their general manager, who also is becoming a Pottstown resident. He is moving here with the operation. I was able to speak with Riley, and he is looking forward to participating in community events. I was speaking specifically to him about Fête en Blanc. So I think that's great. Speaking of Fête, tickets are on sale. They went on sale $15 a piece. June 1st, we've already sold 336 tickets. Sponsorships are still available. Yes, get your tickets. I just saw that face.
Are there any left?
There, well, out of 750, yes, 336 did sell. So just don't wait until the last minute, because we don't want you to be disappointed, and we are not having a wait list this year. Also, Frida's, you may notice that the sign went up. So the former Lily's Cafe, that was sold, and they have gotten a tenant. Frida's is a very popular Mexican place that was first located on the 400 block. There's some question as to whether they will stay open for takeout on the 400 block or not, but they will eventually be moving into that Lily space, and they'll have a lovely sit-down restaurant. The former pub has been sold, and we're looking for a tenant currently. And that is my report for economic development.
Well, land bank.
There is nothing to report, but hopefully there will be acquisitions happening when the sheriff's sale happens in August. Thank you.
Very good. Human relations, Ms. Levengood.
Good evening, councilors, Council President, Madam Mayor. June is Pride Month. It's a month-long observance in celebration of LGBTQ plus people, and the history, culture, and the contributions the individuals to the individuals and to their communities. Father's Day, it's a day to recognize fathers, fatherhood, and paternal bonds. In general, is Sunday, June the 16th. And Juneteenth, the official name of the federal holiday is Juneteenth National Independence Day. It's also called Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, and Black Independence Day. This day, June the 19th, commemorates the end of slavery in Texas, which was the last state of the Confederacy with slavery. The federal holiday will be observed on Wednesday, June the 19th, 2024. The Commission's June meeting will be held on Tuesday, June the 11th at 6 p.m. in council chambers, and all are invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. From the library, we have James Carrigan. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. Good evening, council members and Madam Mayor. I'm here in place of our executive director, Mindy Lipsky, who unfortunately is on medical leave at this time. So I just wanted to give a short report of things that are going on in the library at this time. Currently, we have, pardon me, I can't read my own handwriting. Currently, we are beginning our summer reading program. It's our busiest time of year. We're going to have events for children, young adults, adults of all ages, community members. Everyone's welcome to come by the library and see what we have going on. We have reading challenges with prizes in the community. We're going to be having special game nights, special literacy events that are going on through the entirety of the summer. We're even going to have a couple of costumed characters coming to visit the library. And all the specific dates of that event, I won't bore you with a laundry list, can be found on our website. Or if you have specific questions, you can email us at pottstownlibrary@mclink.org. And we are more than happy to give you further information regarding those events. One event that I do want to bring up is that we will be having our Board of Directors meeting on June 25th at 5 p.m. That will be at the Pottstown Regional Public Library. We are also, pardon me, one other thing about summer reading. We will have a means of tracking reading for prizes using your library card on a website called Beanstack. It's very easy to set up. If you have any questions about it, again, give us a call. We're more than happy to put that together. I do want to also take a moment to say thank you to the council, to the borough, to everyone who has shown their continued support for the library over the years, and to offer thanks on the part of our executive director, our staff, our board of directors, our friends of the library, our patrons. Thank you so much for everything that has been done to help the library and to really help us be a community place for everybody in the community, and welcoming place, and a place of where we can inform and inspire and develop our community. Thank you.
Very good. And from the Ricketts Center, anything to add, Councilor Kirkland?
Yes. Aside from the normal monthly announcements, just a few things. They're doing a boxing camp from May through August. It's $50 for kids. It's on Tuesday and Thursdays, 5:30 to 7:30. Senior health class on Thursdays, 12 to 1. There's a family food bag this Friday from 9 a.m. to noon. There's no requirement, just walk up. If there's a need, just walk up and you can have one. There's a Juneteenth celebration, I believe she says on the 15th. York and Charlotte, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the youth from the Ricketts will be performing there. So that's it.
Great. From the school district, Councilor Lindsay isn't here yet.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm online.
I can't see you on the screen.
I'm different. Yes, I
Oh,
decided
okay.
to be online. I wanted to be
Very good.
above y'all today.
You are.
Over your head. See? Oh wow! Look at that. Look, I was big. Like, oh, I'm like, hi. Okay. All right. Let me stop. So, I may have to start doing packets too, because there was a lot going on in the month of month of May at the school district. So I'm just going to do some highlights. Okay. On Friday, May 31st, the Rupert Elementary School, the Impact team visit the homes of the students. I thought that was pretty cool. So the team went out to visit students from each grade level to congratulate them, the family, and acknowledge the student success during the fourth marking period. So the teachers, parents, and the principal, they all went to the kids' house and presented them with these awards. Also, on May 30th, 2024, 234 seniors from Pottstown High School graduated at the 144th ceremony. But out there too, I want to do a little highlight on these two young men. Firefighters was called 24/7. Bickham Cole, I hope I'm saying the name right, and Jesse Wilder, high school students, class of 2024, found out firsthand what it means to be a volunteer firefighter on duty 24/7. Early that morning, their high school graduation, they were called to a high-rise fire at Robert P. Smith Towers on High Street. As members of the Pottstown Phillies Fire Company and the Goodwill Fire Company, they helped put down a fire on the first floor of the building and assist in the evacuation of 60 residents by 10 a.m. Had turned into, had turned in their firefighter gear and were taking part in the high school graduation rehearsal program. Later that evening, in their cap and gown, they would join the other 221 members of the 144th Pottstown High School graduation class receiving their diploma. The Phillies and the Goodwill fire engines were on hand outside the stadium to give a blast to their horns and lights to recognize the achievement of their fellow firefighters, along with the entire class of 2024. Pottstown students serve the community another reason to say proud to be from Pottstown. Please share the news. I got this from John Amato's post, and I thought this was amazing that these two young gentlemen graduating this year went out there and stopped and did what they had to do and then come back. So if y'all out there, y'all can give them a round of applause and maybe we can give them an award or something. This is awesome. Just tell you that we got some awesome and amazing young adults and young children in Pottstown. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. And for our solicitors' general discussion, Mr. Garner?
Good evening, Dan. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone can hear me. Recently, council has had quite a few conditional use applications and hearings. And I know we've talked about this previously, but I thought that perhaps given the number of hearings and applications, a quick refresher might help council. As you know, on council, you guys are elected and you are legislatures. You basically make the laws, establish policy for the borough, and make decisions as legislators normally. That's a little different in a conditional use proceeding where you're no longer legislators. You put on your judge hat and you become judicial. It's one of the few times I can think of under circumstances where council isn't in a legislative capacity, but it's a judicial capacity. A zoning hearing board is judicial. The Civil Service Commission is primarily judicial. The Construction Code Board of Appeals is judicial. Normally you're not, but in a conditional use, you become the judges and determine whether or not a conditional use should be granted. One of the questions I get frequently is, why are we having conditional use hearings, or why do we have conditional uses? And the answer to that is it's in your zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance has specific provisions that outline what uses are permitted by conditional use. For instance, a medical office may be permitted by conditional use in a highway business district. an existing non-residential building in a neighborhood district may be used as a daycare by conditional use. These are all things that would be in the zoning ordinance itself. And when the zoning ordinance provides for a conditional use, it also is required to have either standards or criteria that an applicant must meet in order for council to grant the conditional. Those standards could be few, they could be many. Typically, they relate to lot size, building size, appearance of the building, amount of traffic that might be generated. I know council is familiar with a lot of these requirements from the hearings that we have. But exactly then, what is council's role in the conditional use? It's judicial. So therefore, your role is to listen to the evidence at these hearings. And these are semi-formal hearings because, you know, we have a court reporter. There is a record that can be transcribed if needed. And the applicant has the burden to present witnesses or documents as evidence to attempt to show council that the standards in the ordinance have been met or satisfied so that the conditional use can be granted. So much like a judge or a jury would do, or a finder of fact, you would find out what the facts are, hear the evidence, and then apply the law to the fact. And the law in this case would be the zoning ordinance and the specific criteria or standards that the ordinance contains. But you do have one other important function when you serve as a judge, and that is you can ultimately determine the credibility of any witnesses. So if you find that a witness is testifying and says some things that are either outlandish or you find difficult to believe, you can determine that the witness or the testimony was not credible, and therefore you would have potentially a basis for not granting a conditional use or finding that the applicant didn't meet its burden of showing that it complied with the criteria. So your role essentially is, in these cases, a judge, apply the facts to the law, assess the credibility of the witnesses, determine what is relevant information, and then make a determination. And that's, in a nutshell, what normally you would do in a conditional use hearing. You might not realize it, but you do that all the time. Sometimes conditional use hearings are longer, some are shorter, depending on the nature of the conditional use. But that's pretty much what the process is. And I felt that since we've been having so many, a quick refresher on how that operates would be helpful. I hope it is. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Obviously, I don't want to talk about any current or future cases, but this was just a general overview of the process generally.
Any questions?
I'm not sure it's a question. I'm not sure there's an answer to the question. Is there a reason you think that we've seen so many recently?
The only thing that I really say is that the development economy is pretty good. And there are a lot of, I'll say, newer businesses or enterprises that want to get started and become developed. And when the economy is good, if their use is by conditional use in our ordinance, then you're going to have them. If no one is coming in to open new businesses, you're not going to have quite as many. So typically, I think that's a good sign.
So one more question. If a business is granted conditional use and then that business closes and another business comes in, are they automatically granted that same conditional use, or do they have to apply for it again?
Typically, they would apply for it again because unless the business is identical, which usually isn't the case, we would have another hearing. But that would really depend on how much different one business is from the other, Lisa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Chuck.
I have a question.
Oh, go
wait a
ahead.
minute. I have a question.
Sure, Trina.
You were saying judicial, like as in court-wise. What do you mean? Like, I know what you're talking about, but
Well, you and the other 6 counselors serve as judges in these conditional use hearings. So basically, you make a ruling based upon the evidence you hear. You're not acting as legislator anymore, you're acting as a judge.
okay,
So you find that the information provided satisfies what the ordinance says, and you
mhm,
believe what's being presented, you'll grant the conditional use, just like a judge or a jury would make a finding. So that's your judicial hat that you're in this case. You're not supposed to talk to parties. You're supposed to listen to the evidence and make a
mhm.
decision solely on the evidence that you hear at the hearing.
And this was ordinance prior, like years ago. This was established, or is this?
Yeah, conditional uses are permitted and contained in the state law, the municipality's
Okay.
planning code, and each zoning ordinance can provide for their own conditional uses. Um, in our zoning ordinance, Trinity, we have quite a few uh, uses that are permitted by conditional use.
Mhm.
So not all ordinances have those, but right now your zoning ordinance has quite a few uses or projects that are permitted through a conditional use process. That allows you as council kind of to oversee these, I don't want to say controversial, but maybe somewhat unique projects rather than the run-of-the-mill projects that would be permitted without any oversight.
Okay. I'm done. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chuck. And
Sir.
Mayor Henry, your report.
May I give it on Monday?
Absolutely. Okay. So that would turn this over to the manager, Mr. Keller.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you. So just wanted to report out that the Hill School will be reconstructing and paving a portion of Sheridan Street at their cost. This is a borough roadway located between Beach and Walnut. They're going to be doing a water pipe upgrade project, and as a part of that, they're going to pave our street. So really grateful for their contribution there to the community. In other good financial news, we were awarded $250,000 for the street tree protection project, which will replace and reconfigure sidewalks damaged by street trees at no cost to properties in the core of town. This grant was provided through the Montgomery County 2040 grant program, and we will be looking to identify the scope of this project over the next several months, and then this will dovetail well with our separate grant repair grant for sidewalks damaged by street trees that will be for private residential properties that are owner occupied, and we'll look to combine both the project that's going to be in the core of town with the grant program that'll be open to everyone borough-wide. Regarding the fire incident at Smith Towers, I really want to thank all the first responders for their quick actions, who arrived at the scene in under 2 minutes and undoubtedly saved lives and property through their actions. Unfortunately, there was one victim. Everyone else, though, escaped with some fairly minor injuries, thankfully. Smith Towers, they were closed that night for further evaluation for potential damage. And I want to assure the community that no one was left without a bed to sleep in. Everyone in the building was transported to a local hotel for an overnight stay where food was provided. And then the next day on the fire floor, all but 7 residents were allowed back. So those residents were placed in other available units through the Montgomery County Housing Authority. So I think it was really a great team effort, and nice to see our local response combined with the county resources in their response, as well as the departments that came in to cover the borough while our fire department was on the scene. So really appreciative of that effort. Just got an update that on July 3rd at 2:30 there will be a ribbon cutting for the Memorial Park Bridge. So abutments are in, the bridge is being placed. That will be hopefully substantially complete in the next few weeks. So we'll also send an email reminder out to all the counselors so that they can make sure that they're in attendance as well. And then just a reminder that on Monday night, we'll be starting a little earlier at 6:30 for the Business Improvement District hearing. So it's a little different than what we normally do. Normally we have 6:30 start times on a Wednesday night. This one will be on Monday night. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. How about a zoning application for 1016 East High?
Yes, so we have Tracy Purdy, who's the owner and operator of Three Daughters Inn, and Dave Garner, their solicitor, who represents them.
Okay, good evening,
Evening.
everyone.
Yeah.
We are here in support of the application for zoning relief, which was filed on May 31st. In that zoning application, the Purdys are seeking several variances from the ordinance as it pertains to bed and breakfast. Just a brief history of 1016 and the bed and breakfast that's been operated from there. In 2018, the Purdys purchased this property on High Street. In 2019, they received special exception relief in order to operate the bed and breakfast. And for the last 5 years, thank you. For the last 5 years, Tracy has been operating the bed and breakfast. There are, however, pretty restrictive provisions in the ordinance as it currently stands. And that would include having no more than 3 guest rooms in the bed and breakfast, no more than a total of 6 guests at any one time. They also are required to live in the bed and breakfast. They also are not permitted to have a sign for the bed and breakfast. And the final requirement is a 5-yard side yard grass buffer between the off-street parking and the adjoining property. And Tracy, these items are the subject of the variance that is being sought, and Tracy will tell you why she feels the variances are necessary.
Just a very quick, you've got the paper in front of you, so that has a lot of what I would say in front of it. I would just draw your attention to the box that talks about just some statistics that I've kept for the last 30 days. We regularly turn away as many, if not more, guests than we accommodate every month. There's definitely a need. So let me just kind of briefly run through. So we have a need to expand to accommodate more guests. We turn those people away. Those are just the people that call. The people that check directly on our website can see that we're full and don't call. So there's for sure a need. We have a desire to move to our property that we purchased that's directly behind our inn. I can see the backyard and parking area of the inn from the back of the house. So we'd be near enough to supervise the inn. We'd like then to open the suite that we live in within the inn to accommodate additional guests. We also have an office at the inn as well, which we'd like to use as a flex room. For example, something that frequently happens is you have like a family of 5 that comes, like 2 parents, a grandparent, and 2 kids that come. We have one room that will accommodate 4 people in the room. Then for that one other person, they have to rent a whole other suite. So what we would like to do is make that flex room a room that can be added on to the rental of a different room. They would then share the bathroom with that suite. We would then like to be able to accommodate up to 15 guests, which is what can be accommodated, heads in beds in those rooms, in actual beds. That currently exist in those rooms, by the way. That we just, if we have the 4-person room gets rented, I have to shut down the rental on the 3-person room because I can't exceed 6 guests in the room. So I just have a room sitting empty and people are calling and I say, I'm sorry, I can't accommodate you. We would like to install a larger sign to the front of the property. In our application, we submitted a sign quote that was given to us for what my ideal sign would be. I'm flexible as to the size and location of that sign within the yard, but we
we would like that. We have a lot of people who pass all the time that are surprised that there's a bed and breakfast there. And guests that frequently drive right by our bed and breakfast because there's no sign. And then in the back, we have a grass strip that's 5 foot wide. Actually, 3.5 feet of that sits on my property and 1.5 feet sit on my neighbor's property, that they've agreed that we could pave over to expand to have one more parking space back there. We do frequently park 3 cars across there, but it would just be a little less of a cozy fit if we could pave that over. Thank you very much.
So again, the Purdy's are seeking the support of council for the zoning application. A date has not yet been set for the zoning hearing, but that is the request that they are making.
Do we have time for me to just say one more thing?
Yes.
The way the ordinance is written, you cannot run a professional bed and breakfast in this town and make enough money to have it be a living. I don't do this to make a living. I do this because I'm in community development and I care about this town, and this is something we really need. There's a lot of people coming to visit, and I frequently have to refer them off to somewhere else because there's time in the room. So I hope you'll consider. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just,
A couple more questions for you guys, if you could hang out for a second. Yeah, you're all right.
Yep.
I'm nervous.
Anyone else?
yeah, so it's not really a question, but I've driven past your bed and breakfast and didn't see it for a long time. I've also recommended people go there, and they can't get in.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, I hear you, and I can attest to everything that you just said, and I am grateful you're here. You keep a good business, you do the right thing, and you're great in the community.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so this would still be operated as a traditional bed and breakfast. In other words, would you operate it, like you are now, except you're just living in a unit that's right behind it?
Correct.
So it wouldn't be like an Airbnb situation?
Absolutely not. It's a
Yeah.
professional bed and breakfast.
Okay.
I hate that those terms are.
Tell them your affiliation.
Yeah, so Pennsylvania has a Pennsylvania Association of Bed and Breakfast Inns. It's a professional organization for those types of beds and breakfasts, and it has very high quality standards, and we have to be recertified every 3 years. And I was certified a couple of months after we opened and recertified again in 2022. So, we're not an Airbnb, we are an actual bed and breakfast.
Okay, good to know.
And as the owner, you would be residing on the property.
Directly behind the property.
Yeah,
We just purchased
property.
the house at 1031 Queen Street, which backs
Oh,
up.
okay,
Like you
okay.
open our garage door, you're looking at the garage door of the house we just purchased.
Understood.
And can you explain the, go ahead, Trinita.
Oh, I was just going to chime in off of Lisa. I used to drive past her sign also. When I saw the sign for the first time, I was doing a walk-in school bus, and we used to walk past her. We used to walk past the bread and breakfast, and that's when I seen the sign. But yeah, we do. Yeah, she needs a little bigger sign than that one right there. But that's all I had to say. Yep.
Could you just explain again the flex room? So you got one flex room on the second floor?
It's on the second floor, so the way the inn is set up, we have a suite on each floor that's part of the bed and breakfast. We also live on the second floor, and we have an office space that's another bedroom in the house, but it didn't have a bathroom, so we never considered using it as a guest room. But what we are proposing is that it become a part of the inn that you can rent if you're already renting a suite.
I see.
And you just need another bed.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have 3 adults or a family of 5 that's
Yeah,
living or whatever.
so like
then
the
you can
kids
have-
could sleep in one room and then?
Well,
or-
yes, an adult would sleep in that room. It would have to be
Yeah.
specified that it would be an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Any more?
Oh, I do have one more. And I don't know if you can answer this, but what happens if your neighbor moves, right, and that part is paved over?
I have been the one that has taken care of it since we moved in. It's always been mowed by us. I don't know. It kind of goes back to that question you had earlier of,
We'll figure it out.
what happens if,
Right.
the
We'll figure it
conditional
out.
use goes to another business. I don't know. If they want it back, I guess they'd have to replant the grass.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 423 Chestnut. What you got?
Yes, so a few months ago, you guys had looked at a sidewalk from Mosaic Community Garden at 423 Chestnut Street. So if you have the images, do you have those to share? If not, the new images are also in your packet that you can look at. So they have two proposals, two different renderings. They've kind of fine-tuned that if you would like to weigh in on kind of which one would be preferred. The second item that's attached there is a proposal that kind of details in a little bit more specific nature what exactly they're doing in terms of the materials and safety. So they indicate that it'll all be high-quality, weather-resistant paint that will be designed for outdoor use. The paint will have a non-slip additive integrated grit so that the sidewalk will remain functional and comparable to a concrete type of surface. And they will be committed to ongoing maintenance of the mural and also make sure that it's in good condition. They're also requesting a fee waiver on this and additional collaboration. This project would require either probably a sidewalk permit or potentially even a mural permit. We're not really sure yet. And also there would typically be a release and a hold harmless and maintenance agreement that council would need to undertake as well. So if we don't have them up there. All right, they're in your packet. So if you have any feedback, just let us know for Monday night. If you like one proposal over the other, and if so, then we would ask that you authorize our solicitor to move forward with preparation of the maintenance agreement.
The first one's beautiful.
Yes, and also Audra Ross is here as well, if you'd like to say a few words.
I just wanted to say something quick. It's not, just to clarify, it's not that there's two renderings to choose from. The first one was the original, from the original presentation.
Oh, I
that
see.
we made just to show these are the elements that will be included in the mural. And the second one is one of our artists' representation of how we would incorporate those elements into a more cohesive mural, one that actually matches the mural that's there on the wall at 423, so it sort of just creates a nice extension of that area. And it is to cover up graffiti that's currently.
Okay. Thank you. That's a mural. Okay, 361, 367 Union Alley. Mr. Garner?
Okay, thank you. This is the true definition of a minor subdivision. There are no improvements. There are no changes to the property proposed. There is presently a 2-unit, I'll call it a twin, on a parcel, and the applicant wants to basically create 2 lots separating it at the party wall so that there are 2 lots and can be sold separately. But what makes this a little more unusual, but actually I think better for the borough, is that there's a separate parcel on the same block that the applicant wants to permanently restrict to be used for parking for these units. So these units would have their own off-street parking very close by to where the property is, and they would all be tied together in perpetuity. So the Planning Commission reviewed this at their last meeting, found obviously to be very favorable, recommended that council approve the minor subdivision, subject to an appropriate parking agreement to tie these parcels to the parking area. And I think the applicant also has to submit some revised plans to have more detailed information regarding the split of the 2 units. But there's really not much more to say about this. Planning Commission not requiring any additional trees or fee in lieu of open space because there's really nothing new happening other than drawing a line on the plan to separate the two units. Dan, is there anything that I missed?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay, so we will be looking for two motions on Monday to approve the plan and basically grant waivers from the ordinance requirements, for the trees and open space and things like that.
Right. Yeah, all they're doing is putting the line on paper. Okay, so we'll list that for Monday. And while I have you, Mr. Garner, 1200 High Street.
Sure, I think council is aware that there are many subsurface stormwater arches throughout the borough, and many are on private property. A few years ago at 1200 High Street, one of the arches collapsed or was damaged, and the borough had been looking to obtain grant funds in order to try to repair or replace this arch. We've now received significant grant funds. The arch is on property, and in order for the borough to undertake the work and spend the grant funds, we need an agreement with the owner to access the property temporarily, to have construction staging on the property, to obtain a release from the owner once the work is done. And that is what this item is. There is a temporary access and construction easement attached to your agenda, along with limitations on responsibility financially for the project. And Justin and I are satisfied that the agreement protects the borough. We will only be spending grant funds on the project, and the agreement would need to be approved by council so we can move forward.
Okay, any questions? All right, set that up for Monday. And the authorization, that'll be included.
Well, these two go hand in hand.
Right.
Assuming you're going to approve the agreement so that we can undertake to work on this arch issue, we would also need to put the project out for bid. So this is just authorization to let the project for bid. And hopefully, if you approve that, we'll have bids in by next month that we can examine.
Great, and we'll do that as well. 17 is the borough roadway paving bid. We have that?
Yes, so we did have 6 total responses to that, but we'll have a recommendation for you on Monday night.
Very good. And for the airport taxiway?
This one we looked at last month, but we weren't quite ready, so we pulled it off. We are now ready to recommend an award to RoadCon as the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay. Questions? We'll list that for Monday. Authorization for the Civil Service Commission.
The PD has exhausted their names of viable candidates on the list, and they now need to start a new process to create a new list.
Okay, so we'll do that Monday. And a 1-year contract extension with Rapid Transit.
Yes, this is the operator who runs our bus service. The contract is pretty much fixed by the amount that FTA will pay out to them.
Okay.
So this would just validate another year of that service.
All right, we'll put that on. And also their budget will be ready.
Yep, the budget will be ready for Monday night as well. It's attached to your agenda for review.
Okay. And now, upcoming board vacancies. Still looking for one person for a 3-year term to expire August 10th, 2024. The Construction Board of Appeals, 1 3-year term to expire August 8th, 2024. Anyone sign up for either of those? Not yet. Okay. So it's time for citizens that are present.
All right, just a reminder, everyone will have 5 minutes to speak. And first up, we have Ron Williams, 245 Walnut Street, please.
Every year, every time election season happens, I commit myself to be at least a half an hour early for the before the doors open for me to run in and have my name number one on that list. I did it tonight with you guys, so I'm gonna do this without tears. After my brain surgery, my emotions seem to generate just automatically, and I kind of break up. But I have always appreciated being present for council meetings. And last time I was present, was a little bit broken up, but I want to thank you. I want to thank the community of Pottstown. Every time somebody comes by my house who kind of knows me, they tell me to stay off the ladder. Yeah. And I have. My wife pleasantly threw my ladder away, put it out in the back alley. I have no idea where it is, but if you find it, hey, no, she won't let me. We had a great powwow this year, even with all the negative outlooks that folks saw rainstorms coming in and were reluctant. But we had a good turnout on Saturday. We had some incredible performers. And on Sunday morning, folks were asking me, are we going to have powwow or not? It was raining like crazy. We asked our vendors and our performers if they wanted to stick around. We let them know we weren't going to charge them a fee or anything like that. And a number of performers did stick around. They wanted to teach their children something about the culture and the method of what we do. And so we had a great weekend. It was a total surprise to us. But Pottstown turned out. The police department, thank you very much. We had folks from the police department come and help us with our opening ceremonies and stick around. It's just a great community, and I tell folks all the time what a wonderful place this is and how much better it's going to get. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. Moving forward from the powwow, I'm sorry I didn't see a few of you there, but I did see some of you. But moving forward to that, we've got 4th of July coming up. I am also on the Go Forth committee, and I sit very pleasantly at all of our meetings, and we talk about the things we need to do. The things we're going to do this year are going to require, hopefully, vendors. And I'm asking anybody that gets the word to let vendors know that we are looking for them. We have a number of vendors already, and it's going to be a great day again, and we won't have any rain, I promise you that. But I want to thank the council. I want to thank Pottstown for the support that we've been able to get from all of you. And regardless of what people say about the weekends and the noise and everything else, we have a great community. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Next up is Doug Slick, please.
Good evening, everyone. Councilor Lindsay totally stole my happy story. And she did an awesome job. Great presentation. 234 high school diplomas last week. I'm told it was the largest graduating class in the history of the school. And so let's hope that these people go on to have marvelous lives and live amazing things and learn and grow skills and hopefully come back and share with us their wonderful lives. So I'd like you to keep in mind 3 things while I speak briefly with you tonight. Housing is a human right, homelessness is a housing problem, and housing first works. The current head count here in Pottstown is, we believe, 120. 120 people who are living without shelter in our streets and in our woods. Unfortunately, very little is being done to concretely provide housing for them or to lead them toward housing. The NPOs and the churches require support from local, county, state, and federal governments, and although there is some movement on all of those levels, it hasn't really caused anything to change on the street. We all agree something needs to be done, in quotes, but we seem to be paralyzed with disagreement on who should do it and how it should be done. 24/7 shelters are required. Movement toward permanent housing for each client is required. Case management and legal services are required. Mental health services are required. Substance abuse services are required. Return to work services are required. This next statement in my notes is in all caps. In the meantime, okay, we've been living in this state for potentially decades. We don't have the hardcore facts, but evidence shows that in Pottstown, the encampment has been maybe upwards of 30 years. Providing basic needs to human beings can never be the wrong thing to do. Addressing acute medical conditions and hygiene deficiencies are a public health concern and must be attended to. Providing basic human needs does not enable unhoused citizens to avoid pursuing their own life improvements. Nobody in the encampment wants to be there. They participate in the efforts when offered a hand up. So in the meantime, that is what we were doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Wayne Fenstermacher.
I wanted to bring to your attention, as a neighbor of the bed and breakfast across the street from us, I completely support the zoning request as far as the occupancy is concerned. What I would like you to be more concerned about is the request for the size of the sign. The current sign is approximately 2 foot by 1 foot. Their proposal is for 10 times that size, 4 foot by 5 foot. In that area, it's not in keeping with a residential mixed-use community. So if you keep that in mind, if you were going to support or voice your support for the zoning board, certainly a 2 foot by 3 foot, which would be the size of a for sale sign, would be certainly adequate. Going to a much larger size would be a little overkill. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Okay, and from the councilors, Councilor Proskal.
Of course, I'd like to thank the first responders and Joel. I saw Joel Johnson, at the Smith Towers, make sure everybody was okay. And then I think Zach Nelson was there for majority of the day as well. And then on Sunday, Go Forth had a good fundraiser over at the beer garden.
Good. Councilor Vanny.
I have a choice. I am really angry about something that happened with the department here, and I've voiced concerns before. What I'd like to do is lash out. What I'm going to do is wait and have conversations and see why these things continue to happen. So that's all I'm going to say tonight because I'm angry. So I'm just going to be quiet.
Councilor Lebedinsky.
Nothing.
Where are you, Trinita?
I'm right here.
Okay. Any comment?
Yes, I did a couple things in this month. I went kayaking, showed some people the carousel, which they love. And I didn't do the miniature golf. It was too hot. I didn't feel like going outside. Oh, and Go Forth had their I seen Ryan there. They had their kickoff fundraiser. Was really nice. It was packed too. It was nice. I went there after work. What else did I do? I feel like I did some more stuff. I didn't go to the car show this time. I didn't feel good that Saturday. Oh, and I went to the alley. They had this really nice band there that was playing like rhythm and blues, and he was mainly doing the music with a harmonica. Amazing. They did a good job. What else? I think that's it. Oh, let me tell you this. So I was doing a 93 last week, 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I was doing a 93. So I go to Conshohocken, get a bus, and bring it all the way back to Pottstown. And at dark 30, I always say dark 30, which is 4:15 in the morning. I start off on High Street. So I start off on I start there, and I get off I clean inside of my bus, I throw stuff in the trash, and it was so peaceful. The water was going in Smith Plaza, and it was clean in the park. And I was just looking and just looking around saying, I love this town. It's so peaceful. I did my little walk. I felt safe. I mean, I'm a city girl, so Pottstown, no, I mean, so I was walking and stuff, walked around my bus, and I just wanted to let you know it was really nice at 4:30 in the morning to come to, because when I leave here, I'm gone. I'm focused on getting to work. But when I had to drive and straight through High Street, it was just, and it was clean. Even 400 block. That's what I meant to tell you. I was really nice. The streets it was just nice. It was nice view of the city. I mean, of our little Pottstown that morning. So that's all.
Okay. Councilor Monastra.
Two things. The first thing is I had a meeting today at Borough Hall, and as I walked in, the flowers around here are ridiculously beautiful, ridiculously beautiful. Whoever is taking care of them, whoever is doing whatever they're doing, okay, it was beautiful. It was absolutely incredibly beautiful. And I walked in and I said, damn, I'm happy I'll tell anybody to come see this place. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, as weather gets better, and I also found out that as weather gets better, we need to be aware of people out on the streets, whether they're on bicycles or doing the bike lanes or running. Us drivers, we cannot assume that they are going to follow the laws of the road, and sometimes that happens that there are tragic consequences. So everybody, please look out share the road with the cyclists and the walkers and joggers, and just be aware that they may not follow traffic signals to their detriment. Thank you.
Councilor Kirkland.
Just want to reiterate the Juneteenth celebration, the York and Charlotte, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and also the family food bags this Friday at the Ricketts from 9 a.m. to noon.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Hendrick.
Just two things. I want to second what Andrew Monastra said. It is dark in some streets, even if you're going 25, kids, adults, dogs, cats, everybody's will dart in front of your car, inevitably. I have unfortunately, killed 3 people in the borough driving slowly. So please, please, please be careful. If you see kids playing, a ball could come out. I want to try to avoid any accidents. And I also want to thank Andrew Monastra for opening up his home and his partner, Jessica Grader. They put a lot of work into a fundraiser for Joe Cerisi last week. It was very, very nice. Just a wonderful group of people. And I just want to say thank you for doing that and for supporting Joe. That's it.
Very good. I have nothing more to add. Meeting adjourned.